Hello everyone, welcome to a video on IELTS writing, and in today's video we're going to talk about general training writing, so letter writing. And I have picked a question that recently appeared in the IELTS exam on February 8th. So let's look at the replicated question for February 8th. All of those who had attended the general training module in India attended this particular question. So let's find out how we were supposed to solve this question. I'm sure by the end of this video you'll have a better understanding on how to approach a letter. Let's get started. So on screen you can see the question that appeared on February 8th. Now we have all the basic instructions of task 1 even in a letter writing, like the 20 minutes that's assigned for the task. So out of the 1 hour's time, you take your 20 minutes to solve the letter. And the instructions given at the bottom of the task, which says write at least 150 words. That is also a common instruction. And another thing you have to be careful about is in IELTS letter writing, we do not require to write any addresses. And we can directly begin our letter with the salutation, dear. Now this is always given in the question. Now how do we complete that salutation? For instance, do we write it as dear sir? Do we write it as dear friend or the name of your friend? Do you write it as dear Mr. So-and-so? It depends on the type of letter you need to write. Okay, so let's quickly have a look at the question. The question says you are enrolled in a part-time course but will be unable to attend classes for 2 weeks. So here we have the context given to you. So you know what you have to focus on. What is the outline of your letter? What are you going to write? What is the basis of your letter? That is given in the context. Then you have a line that asks you to write a letter. If you look at the question here, it says write a letter to your class teacher. Now when you read this, you get to know the type of letter you need to write. That means whether you should be writing a formal letter, should it be an informal letter or a semi-formal letter. And following that, we have the 3 bullet points always given. Remember, this is a standard format used in the IELTS letter writing. So the first, second and the third bullet points, and these points will help you create content for your letter. So what you need to include in a letter, the different paragraphs that you need to write, and what idea you need to fill into these paragraphs. You get an understanding by looking at the content here. For instance, here it says, explain the reason for your absence. 2, mention when you plan to return to class. And 3, describe how you will catch up on missed lessons. So let us look at each of these aspects in detail. I'm sure a lot of students wouldn't have given so much of attention to a question. But by the end of this video, you will learn where to focus on and how you can easily write a very effective letter. So let's look at the question. In more detail. So here I've just taken that first half of the question. So we are zooming into that part. And from here starts our planning of the letter. Okay, so we're looking at the context sentence. We're also looking at the sentence that gives you the idea of the type of letter you need to write. So the context, what does it say? It says you, okay, that means the candidate. You are enrolled in a part-time course. So you have to create a story. This is just the outline or the skeleton given to you. Now what is the part-time course that you have enrolled in? Is a story that you have to create. Because remember, when you write the letter, we cannot write things like I have enrolled in a part-time course, because part-time course is picking the same words from the question. Instead, you need to give a name for it. What part-time course? Is it going to be a spoken English course? Is it going to be a course on, let's say, artificial intelligence or how to prepare presentations, creative writing? What is the course about? Okay, so you need to think of a name for the course. So for this example, let's say, okay, let's consider creative writing. Okay. Now, if required, you can decide on what kind of creative writing course, like maybe I can say 50 hours of creative writing course, or 1 month creative writing course, or creative writing course for a duration of 1 month. So you can plan, you can create your own story here. Okay. Then the context says but. So but means you have started your course, you have enrolled for it, but there's something else going to stop you from attending it, right? So but, so what is the condition here? Will be unable to attend classes for 2 weeks. Okay, so you know the time is fixed for 2 weeks. So here you can decide a date. For 2 weeks means approximately from when to when would you not be able to attend a class. So we can decide on a particular date. Now, let's say we are already in February. So maybe a few days from now. So let's say 21st of February. Okay, and we count it to around 2 weeks and maybe take it to first week of March. So let's say 7th March. Okay, so this is how you plan your story. You're creating the outline using the keywords given here. Unable to attend. So you have to think of why you're unable to attend. What is keeping you from attending this part-time course? So part-time course again could mean maybe the classes are in the evening, or maybe it is just for 1 hour. Okay, so you can decide how you want it to be, but you also have to decide on your reason. This is the big part of your letter. Why are you unable to attend? So maybe you can take something very genuine. So being unable to attend for 2 weeks is quite a long duration. If it's 1 day, you can say meeting, or you can say an appointment with doctor, but for 2 weeks, it cannot be an appointment with the doctor, right? So it should be something which takes you to a far off place, or really needs you to be engaged in some kind of important work. So maybe you can think of going out of town, maybe going back to your hometown. Okay, so going to your hometown, maybe going back to your parents. Now they need some kind of assistance. Okay, maybe your signature is required, or it could be a land deal. Okay, so you create a story there. Why you have to stay away for 2 weeks. Okay, so going to your hometown, which is probably, let's say, 100 kilometers away. Of course, you cannot travel easily back for class. Okay, so you create a story there, right? And then when you look at this sentence which says write a letter to your class teacher. Here we need to understand the type of letter we're going to write. So when we write to a class teacher, what kind of letter would it be? Is it an informal letter? No, remember, an informal letter are letters when we write to our parents, mother, father, grandparents, or your siblings, your brother, sister, your cousins, your aunt, your uncle, or your friend. Okay, these are the possibilities of an informal letter. So definitely class teacher does not fall in that category. Is it a formal letter? Now, formal letter are written to people in power who you do not know, you're not friends with, you're not familiar, and you're writing for a very official purpose, not for any personal reason. Like writing to the president of your country, writing to the local councillor, writing to, let's say, okay, maybe you've seen an advertisement, a company is hiring employees, so writing to the HR manager there. Okay, so these kind of contexts would be a formal letter. Now here it's a class teacher, and you are familiar with your class teacher, right? You know each other, the class teacher knows that you've enrolled for the course. You know each other by your names. But it is not that you have a friendship between the two of you. Okay, you're not friends. So it doesn't fall in the informal category, nor is it a fully formal category. So this is a kind of letter. It's called as the semi-formal letter. And because you have to write a semi-formal letter, you also need to decide a name for your teacher. Because if it's a formal letter, you just write it as Dear Sir. But here you have to decide on a name. So you decide on the gender. Should it be a Mr. or a Miss? So let's say your teacher's name is going to be Miss Noora, for example. Okay, so you decide this. So this is a part of your planning of the letter. See how much of information you need to focus on just from the question, and this will help you develop the letter. Now that you have a brief understanding of how your letter should go, let's look at the second half of the question. And that is the 3 bullet points that you have. So the first one says, explain the reasons for your absence. So we've already decided here, unable because we're going to our hometown. So we need to mention that here in detail, hometown visit, your parents need your assistance, okay. Maybe it's a land deal, property is involved, maybe you can speak about money if required, what amount, maybe a huge amount, signature, okay. So you create a story here. Mention when you plan to return to class, okay. So return, so here you've already decided 2 weeks, and as per our first plan, from Feb 21st to March 7th we are on leave, and that means when do we return to class? Maybe 8th of March, okay. And because it's a very short bullet point, mention when you plan to return to class. Don't just finish it off as 8th of March, okay. Say, add more details there. What do you plan to do during your absence? Maybe you can talk about maybe getting in touch with your classmates, okay. Get in touch with your classmates. You can talk about collecting notes. Maybe you can add points like video classes or recordings, plus collect the recordings of the classes, okay. Maybe you can add a detail saying deadline for assignment. So this is where we're creating a story, right? Deadline for assignment falls within this time, but then because you will not be available, you request for a waiver or an extension for submission. So for the second point, we've created certain details, because we cannot just write in one sentence, I will return to class on the 8th of March, full stop, and go to the third point. No, we need to build a story there. So the last point says, describe how you will catch up on missed lessons. Okay, so we've already spoken about video recordings, deadlines for assignments. So you can say you will copy notes. So you will copy notes, you will work hard, okay. You promise to be regular for class, okay, and you will submit assignment as soon as you return. On return. Clear? So remember, when you plan your essay writing, you need to take at least, sorry, not the essay writing, when you're planning on your letter, you need to take at least the first 10 minutes, if possible, to create a plan like this. Create a story, pull out, write down words like I've just done here on screen for you. If you have a clear plan like this, okay, 10 minutes might be too long. Let's say, okay, 5 minutes should be sufficient. So 5 minutes to plan it. The next 10 minutes, okay, is for writing your letter. So take the 10 minutes to look at your plan in detail and write a full letter. Okay, so 15 minutes is over here, 5 minutes of planning, writing down these keywords, just what I've done here. Okay, you can underline, you can draw boxes, you can draw a line and then write down words, anything that will help you create a story. Then in 10 minutes you write your letter by looking at your plan, and the last 5 minutes, okay, the last 5 minutes should be time to proof your letter. Okay, right, so let me tell you how you can structure your letter. So because it is a semi-formal letter, we know we have to begin with a salutation. We've decided the name here. So for example, I say, Dear Miss Noora, or Dear Mr. James, whoever your teacher is. Salutation, leave a line, next paragraph. Here you're mentioning the purpose of your letter. Okay, the reason for writing. Reason for writing a letter. So this is where we mentioned that, you know, you've joined for your course. So mention the name of your course, mention why 2 weeks off. Why 2 weeks off? So this will be in around maybe 2 or 3 sentences. So short paragraph here, okay. Then you leave a line again and you focus on your first bullet point. So bullet point 1. Okay, so you write a couple of lines, then you go to leave a line blank. So after every important sentence or paragraph, you leave one line blank. Okay, after salutation, you leave a line blank. After the purpose or the reason for writing the letter, you leave a line blank. Bullet point 1, you develop in 2 or 3 sentences, then you leave a line blank. Then you go on to your second bullet. So then you write your bullet number 2, some sentences again, and then we leave a line blank, and then we go on to bullet number 3. Okay, again a few sentences. So it takes me to the next page. Then what do I write? I have to close the letter. So I write my closing remarks. In this case, it would be something like looking forward to a favorable response from your end, or I hope to get a sanction regarding my leave request soon. Okay, so in a couple of sentences, then again you need to leave a line blank, and then you close your letter. How do you close your letter? Here, because it's a semi-formal letter, we always close it as yours sincerely, comma, and you write your full name. Okay, so here I'm writing my full name, Sangeeta Gopi. Yours sincerely, Sangeeta Gopi. So this is an approximate of the structure or the format that you can use. Now, based on what we've just discussed of the question, based on the structure that I've discussed, I have prepared a small sample for you to consider. Now, let me repeat that I would never say this is the best sample and the only possible way to write the letter, but this is a definite sample that you can refer to and improve on your writing. So here we have the salutation. Because it's a semi-formal letter, I've written as Dear Miss Jones. This is the paragraph where you mention the purpose of your letter, the reason for writing. So you can see it's written as, I am writing to inform you I will be unable to attend my creative writing classes for two weeks. Unavoidable personal reasons. I sincerely regret. Here this is bullet 1. Then we have bullet point 2. Then we have the bullet point 3. This is the closing sentence, and here we have the closing salutation, yours sincerely, and your full name. So this is a good sample for you to refer and understand how you can approach this letter, the possible things you can include in each of these paragraphs. So I hope this video was helpful and you've understood how you can spend your 5 minutes preparation time planning your letter and use your 10 minutes of writing the letter effectively depending on the foolproof plan that you've made. And don't forget to proof your letter in the last 5 minutes. So thank you so much for watching this video, and watch out our YouTube channel, our Facebook page for more such videos to help you prepare for your IELTS. Thank you.
MedCity International Academy. Trusted hands forever.